Hey guys, I just want to give a quick thank you to Live B&B for choosing to work with me. We're working on a really cool offer for you guys, and I'm going to be making a video very soon to give you all that information, so stay tuned. What's up YouTube? I'm Z, and this channel shows you the world through my lens. Hopefully you guys saw my little stuff that's coming soon, hopefully. Just so you guys know, obviously I'm a small-time YouTuber. I have to work a job, I have a family, I have all sorts of obligations and responsibilities. I'm trying to find ways to make this a bigger part of what I spend my time doing. Hopefully someday full-time. And at the size that I am currently, it can't support my family or my lifestyle. So I have to find ways to partner with people. It's not fully finalized yet. We're just finalizing stuff, and then I'm going to have a cool thing for you guys, as I mentioned. But I'm excited, so I thought I'd mention it again. But here we go, guys. This is what I wanted to do in this video, because I'm seeing a lot of fair and unfair reviews and criticisms of this track. I want to highlight, because I feel like I gave it a pretty fair listen. Okay, now I know that nobody can be completely unbiased, but I try really hard to be as unbiased as I can be. And I tried really hard to highlight the parts that I think he did really well, because the parts he did well, he did really well. And the parts where I thought he fell a little flat. Okay, and I'm going to be honest about those. Again, I've done the reaction. This is going to be not explaining every single line, but I'm just going to highlight the parts that I think were really good and the parts that I think were bad. And I'm just going to give you a quick explanation from somebody who basically is, already kind of listens to music full time, to review it, to critique it, to react to it. So maybe my opinion might be a little different than the average listener. Okay. So that's what I wanted to do here. I don't want to waste any time more so than I already have. Let's get into this so I can go over some of those parts, okay? So I'm going to hit play. So the sample at the beginning, let me see you prove it. Okay, so that's already, he's taking what Kendrick was doing with like using the production and that type of stuff to send a message as well. So he's saying, let me see you prove it.
All right.
That was well done. Using a slower beat like this, which is what we would more typically expect from Kendrick, right after Kendrick did a club banger, which is what we would more expect from Drake. That was also, I think, a very well done move there in terms of strategy.
Pulitzer Prize winner is definitely spiraling. I got your fucking lines tapped, I swear that I'm dialed in. First I was a rat, so where's the proof of the trial then? Where's the paperwork of the cabinet is filed in? 1090 Jake would've took all the walls down. The streets would've had me hiding out in a small town.
So in terms of those type of allegations, anything that's insinuating that, in terms of those of us that consume our content online through social media platforms and all of that stuff, we would put weight on 1090 Jake, knowing what he's known for doing. And so I think in terms of like where Drake knows where this music is being consumed. I just want to point out, because some of y'all have been talking about how, Kendrick's been getting more views than Drake. I think with the bombs he's dropping, he's getting crazy views, but it has been just over a day and Drake is 12.5 million views, which is crazy. So let's keep going. But that was a strong rebuttal for any sort of insinuation of that type of stuff. And in case y'all didn't get why, because you were saying Kendrick didn't call him a rat, that is in regards to the New Ho King stuff. So apparently New Ho King wasn't just a random restaurant. That was apparently where the theft of Drake's watch happened, the AP, which Drake actually, I got to give him points for that, where he said, I did get robbed for my AP. In Family Matters, he admits to that. So that's where the New Ho King thing came from. And the fact that Kendrick brought that up is what Drake is taking as an accusation for being a snitch. So that's why he's addressing it that way.
My Montreal connect, stand up, not fall down. The ones that you getting your stories from, they all clowns. I am a war general, seasoned in.
So we're going to come back to that, because a lot of people are taking that and applying the wrong meaning and context to it. So I'll come back to that, okay? The clown line.
The ones that you getting your stories from, they all clowns. I am a war general, seasoned in preparation. My jacket is covered in medals, honor and decoration. You waited for this moment, overcome with the desperation. We plotted for a week and then we fed you the information. A daughter that's 11 years old, I bet he takes it. We thought about giving a fake name or a destination. But
so this part right here, this is where I feel 50-50. I feel the setup for this was very strong, and it's not getting enough credit. And when he says clowns, the reason I want to bring that back, people are like, oh, Drake's saying the people who gave you the information are clowns, and then he says we gave you the information. Clearly what he's saying is that the people in your team who got this information are clowns because they didn't check or investigate it. They just came back to you and said, Drake's got a daughter, Drake's got a daughter, Drake's got a daughter, she's 11, and you ran with it. They're clowns for not checking if it was true or to validate the information that my team fed them, the fake information. The other way you could possibly take it too is Drake knows who the leak is, and he purposely fed the leak the wrong information, and the leak is the clown. But the leak doesn't know that Drake knows they're the leak. This is another way you can take it, but it's definitely not the way y'all are trying to spin it. Now, the only reason I'm 50-50 on this, and I think it's weak, any part of it is weak, is because what I would have done if I was Drake is immediately after this, I would have dropped the evidence of the planted leak. Okay, because now the cat's out of the bag. So we know that if this is what Drake's claiming, then he knows who the leak is. He knows where he's planting the fake information. Let's get the proof of that. Let's get the text message, or let's get the video of like you guys planning the move, whatever. Let's get the proof. That's what I would have done right after. Or I would have made this like a visual video, not like a full music video, but flash the text messages of you giving the instructions last week that, hey, let's go ahead and move forward with this plan, and then come back to the day free, visual. So that's where I feel like it fell flat, versus it was a really strong setup and then it didn't really get delivered all the way.
But you so thirsty, you not concerned with investigation. Instead, you in that Venice studio, it's a celebration. You gotta learn to fact check things and be less impatient. Your fans are rejoicing, thinking this is my expiration.
Again, this all could be super strong. We just needed the proof to come in right after.
Even the picture you use, the jokes and the medication, the Maybach glove and the drug he uses for less inflation. Master manipulator, you bid on a speculation. You dumb and reactive, nigga, I'm petty with dedication.
So right there, that whole section was more believable for me than the other part, because the other part we didn't get backup. We didn't get information to confirm it. But this part right here, the planting of the picture with the shorty video t-shirt, with the Ozempic prescription, with the receipt for the replica ring of his engagement, with the Maybach gloves. Apparently, now I have to go back and watch the Family Matters video again, but apparently a lot of fans are saying that there are Easter eggs in that video that are alluding to the stuff that was in that picture. And when people explained to me in the comments what that picture was on Kendrick's video that I did feel that was far too convenient, that somehow all of these things were in one picture conveniently for Kendrick to receive. So this part, I believe way more that it could be a plant. And for that reason, I believe that this is much stronger than people are giving it credit.
What about the bones we dug up in that excavation? And why isn't Whitney denying all of the allegations? Why is she following Dave free and not Mr. Morale? You haven't seen the kids in 6 months, the distance is wild. Dave leaving heart emojis underneath pics of the child. Speaking of anything with a child, let's get to that now.
So right before we get to this heavy part now that's coming up, I do want to kind of back up Drake on this particular part and say that the people that he's speaking about, that's Kendrick's manager and Kendrick's, would-be wife, like fiance. How easy would it be for either of them to be like, nah, this is all cap? Even if you don't want to do like a face, like on camera interview, even if you just did your Twitter or whatever it is you use for your social media, and just be like, Drake is lying out of his ass. That would take 2 seconds, right? Am I right or wrong about that? you know, and I'll get to the other part with Drake because I feel the same way about that. But right now we're talking about this line, and I think Drake's got a very strong point here. If the accusations that Drake is making are untrue, why are we not getting, you know, the people that are closest to Kendrick supposedly coming out and saying, nah, this is complete BS. We would never do that to him. This is not true. Drake's just lying. And then Drake would be discredited. Am I right?
This Epstein angle was the shit I expected. TikTok videos you collected and dissected. Instead of being on some disdirect shit, you rather fucking grab your pen and misdirect shit. My mom came over today and I was like, mother I.
So the Epstein thing, I think people are being really stupid with that, saying Kendrick never said Epstein, but you put them all in the same category. Epstein, Weinstein, what's it called? Cosby, R. Kelly. Now they did slightly different things, obviously, but you put them in the same category of offenders. And also there was a part where he made the trafficking, like the sex trafficking because of the Baca situation, apparently. So, you know, I think people are putting the weight on the wrong part, saying that, oh, he said Epstein, not Weinstein. That's Drake's snitching on himself. No, I think that still works the same way. And Drake told us on Tailor Made when he rapped from Tupac's perspective that this is the angle Kendrick was going to take. So he's just like reiterating that he already predicted that that was the angle that Kendrick was going to go for. Right? So I think people are reaching a little bit with saying that part was not a strong rebuttal. I think that part might have been the strongest rebuttal, to say like, I knew you're going to take this angle, you know, and then follow that with a denial. But what follows is where we get a little bit, you know, shaky.
Wait a second, that's that one record where you say you got molested. Oh, fuck me, I just made the whole connection.
I'm gonna talk about
this. This about to get so depressing. This is trauma from your own confessions. This when your father leave you home alone with no protection, so neglected. That's why these pedophile raps and shit you so obsessed with, it's so excessive. They acting like it's so aggressive, but you just never known affection. I don't wanna dish you anymore. This really got me second guessing.
Okay, so maybe I'll pull it back from that part because I will address that as well. So Mother I'd never heard it, and then people were saying that's a song Kendrick talks about. Drake fans were saying that's a song where Kendrick talks about being molested, and then Kendrick fans were saying no, Drake is completely stupid, he doesn't know how to understand lyrics. And then the jokes come in, ghostwriters don't know how to understand lyrics. Kendrick says on that track that he wasn't molested. So when I have this difference of perspective and perception, I went and I listened to the track myself. Now, before I say this next part, that track is a masterpiece. Like, now I've heard 2 tracks from Mr. Morale just so I could do the research. I didn't react to it. As I said about the other one, I don't want to be one of those like inflammatory things like, you know, I'm talking about Kendrick, so now I'm going to do Kendrick songs so I can ride the wave. When I listen to Mr. Morale moving forward, I want to do a reaction to the whole album. But that song was masterfully written. And what he's saying on that song is his mom keeps asking him if he was touched or abused. And I think at one point maybe his uncle asked him too. But I know it was mostly his mom asking. So maybe it was other family members as well. But I've only listened to it once. So, you know, cut me some slack if I get anything wrong. But basically, he keeps denying it, keeps saying, no, it never happened. And then he has this like internal dialogue that he spits on the rap where he's basically saying like, you know, they asked me so many times, it makes me question the memories of a 5-year-old. Because he's like, you know, I kept saying no because it didn't happen, but they keep asking, keep bringing it up. It almost made me confuse the memories of a 5-year-old. Like, did it actually happen or did it not? And then he confirms again, it didn't. So he didn't actually get molested. He plays with the idea that because his mom was molested and she was projecting that experience onto him and kept asking him, it was almost leading him to be confused as a young person. Like, why is she asking did this happen? Right? So from the angle of like, was Kendrick molested? No. But Drake's not stupid. If I on first listen could figure out that that's what the song meant, he knows that's what the song meant. Okay? Because he's not stupid. Like, if you think he's stupid, you're stupid. That's it. The angle he's taking is that your mom was projecting, which made you confused and obsessed because she kept asking you. And now your obsession and confusion about whether it happened to you has made you obsessed. And now you're projecting that on me, right? So he's flipped the angle that Kendrick was talking about, the psychology of someone who's been abused and trying to project it on other people. Drake has used that angle and said, you are projecting that on me. So I thought, psychologically speaking, that was a very strong angle. Sensitively speaking, when you're being accused of pedophilia and you respond by you were molested, that's where it's shaky for me, because I would kind of like, I don't know, I struggle with that part, okay? But this next part right here.
But you just never known affection. I don't want to diss you anymore. This really got me second guessing.
I don't want to diss you anymore. This really got me second guessing. So this is where people said that Drake's waving the white flag. He just said that after saying that, you know, this is getting depressing because this is such traumatic stuff for you. So I don't believe that he's actually done. If Kendrick does reply, I think Drake will reply. I don't think it's going to be a situation where Drake's not going to reply. That's my read on those lyrics. I think people continue to take things out of context. As we continue on these lines.
Touch My Body by Mariah Carey play, you probably start reflecting. I never been with no one underage, but now I understand why that's the angle that you really mess with.
So that's just the final delivery of this whole angle that he did. Again, I think it's a very strong premise, psychologically speaking, and flipping the meaning of Mother I. However, just because of the particular subject matter of like child molestation, like I struggle to be like, oh my God, that was amazing. Okay.
Just for clarity, I feel disgusted.
And he feels like he needed to put that justifier there. Just for clarity, I feel disgusted.
Too respected. If I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested. I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested, but that's not the lesson.
So that was the worst part of the track. And it's the worst part because this is where you kind of have to know the temperature of the world we're in at the moment. And the temperature of the world that we're in at the moment is that we're hypersensitive to rich people getting away with stuff for far too long before they finally, you know, get brought to justice. And the fact that he was a little bit oblivious to that temperature check and he delivers this line was a miss, for sure. If he said I'm way too rich and way too famous at the 1090 Jake part where he's addressing like being a snitch and stuff like that, that would hit, right? It's like, yeah, I mean, when he's that big, like people are going to find dirt if he's doing that type of stuff. This one is a miss because everybody on that list of famous celebrities who were rich, some or actually most way richer than him, and very famous, either equally famous or more famous, and they got away with stuff for how long before they got caught? So this was a huge miss for me. I think this is worse than people are even saying it is because of that angle.
Clearly there's a deeper message. Deep cuts that never healed and now they got infected. Like if Dave really fucked your girl and got her pregnant. Talk about breeding resentment. Not sure how to ease the sentiment. The shit's too intimate. I'm praying you recover from both incidents. But you a piece of shit, so this shit really no coincidence.
So, you know, him, again, that's his attempt to say that the stuff I'm talking about is heavy, and I acknowledge that it's heavy, despite the lack of, you know, reading the room on the previous part. You know, that was a move for him to say, look, the stuff I'm talking about is not stuff you talk about lightly. I hope you recover from both things. So I think he felt like he probably needed to put something like that. I feel indifferent about that one.
Drake is not a name that you gon' see on no sex offender list. Easy does it. You mentioned an A minor, but niggas gotta be sharp and tell the fans who was it. You thought you left D flat, D major.
So that, in my opinion, was harder than people are giving it credit for. They just want Kendrick's line to be the only one that was clever. That was a great flip back. And I see Kendrick stands, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you out right now, coming into my comments and saying B sharp isn't even a note. Listen, all you would have to do is a very quick Google search, but confirmation bias is probably still going to fail you. B sharp is sonically C. So when you listen to that piano key getting hit, it is C. However, when you are writing music, the rule is whatever scale you're writing in, you cannot repeat letters. So if in that, let's say you want C sharp and C in the music that you're writing, you can't do that. You can't write C and C sharp. You can't repeat it. So what you would have to do if you're writing in, like, let's say a C scale, C sharp scale, you would have to write C as B sharp. Okay, so if you're writing music, B sharp exists to represent C because C sharp has already used the C and cannot use C again. I hope that made sense. I don't know. I'm not a music teacher, so I may not have conveyed that in the best way. But y'all are wrong. It takes a very quick, a guy who's made the amount of songs that Drake has, you really think he doesn't know music? That's a really dumb approach. And that bar was way harder than people are giving it credit for.
I'll slit your throat with the razor and do Rick Ross hair like that one flight from Malaysia. I'm your baby mama screensaver.
That line was hard too, just because of knowing what Rick Ross joked about with his... I'm glad Rick Ross is okay, but when Rick Ross's plane had an emergency crash landing, he was okay, but he said, oh, Drake shot me down. And so Drake is just, again, making sure his finger's on the pulse. That was harder than people are giving it credit for.
Only fucking with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Browns. I never look twice at no teenager. I'm a fucking hit maker, dog, not a peacemaker. Yeah, bullets that I'm stuffing in each chamber.
So before we move past that, I know a lot of people were like, Kendrick never said Millie Bobby Brown, but that seems like a really stupid defense for me to say that Drake brought up Millie Bobby Brown. Like, you think he doesn't know what people are talking about him? He doesn't know what people are saying about him? Y'all are just being like really unfair when you're judging this. He knows what people are saying, the angles people are taking, so he's addressing it. And so when Kendrick says, like, you're pedo because of stuff, he's like, well, this is the stuff that he's probably talking about. Now, I addressed that in the other thing. In my opinion, if that was all kosher and, like, above board, in my opinion, Millie Bobby Brown and probably her parents too should step forward and be like, nothing weird happened with Drake. And if it wasn't above board, then they should step forward and say Drake groomed her and did things that he shouldn't have done. Simple as that. I have no, dog in this race, like whether it's this way or that way. If it's he is a pedo and a predator, get him out of here. If he isn't, Kendrick, that was a really bad move.
Your ass in extreme danger. Stop buying views and buy comments. You may as well keep the paper.
That was terrible for me because it discredits every artist all the way through. So that to me was worse than people are saying. Again, I have to be fair. I'm saying the parts that are good and the parts that are bad. That was really bad for me because that doesn't help music in the industry, in my opinion, throwing out an accusation like that.
Shit you about to need.
I know J. Cole has done that too.
For later, I give a fuck about your streaming data. You could drop 100 more records. I'll see you later. Yeah, maybe when you meet your maker.
You could drop 100 more records. I'll see you later. So again, people are saying that this means that Drake is done, but we need the context. So he says this. It's also to deliver the bar because he says, "I see you later. Maybe when you meet your maker." So he's basically saying that, like, I'm your maker. We've seen him make those lines before. We know Drake took Kendrick on his tour early days when Kendrick was first getting big. We know he got a feature on Drake's album, and then Drake gave him a feature on Kendrick's album early days when Kendrick was first getting established. So there is that angle that, like, Drake gave him that platform and gave him a bigger boost at the beginning when maybe people didn't know who Kendrick was. So that angle of maker. But I say the context is important. He says, "I see you later," because he says, "Let me know when you start speaking facts at the end." So we'll hear that when we get to the end of the song.
Don't wanna fight with a woman beater. It feeds your nature. If you still bumping R. Kelly, you could thank the savior. Said if they deleted his music, then your music is going to a hypocrite. I don't understand.
So with this part, people were trying to defend that Kendrick wasn't the only artist that was saying that. They were saying that you have to separate the art from the artist, and it's up to people if they want to listen to that artist still. I think that when you're getting into the semantics like that, again, you're trying really hard to defend your favorite artist. It was a really strong angle, in my opinion, because when Kendrick is talking about, like, morality and depth of character, and he says that he could never be cool with somebody who does things with children or pursues young women, but then at the same time is defending the catalog of a man who's in prison right now for doing really horrible things to young women and young people. It damages Kendrick's character, right? That he's claiming to have the higher ground on. So this was much stronger than people gave it credit for.
Stand why these people praise you. Sounding like you send him commissary when he needs some paper. Album dropping soon. No wonder you turn a clout chaser instead of doing hard labor. Nigga, I see you when I see you like Fantasia. And Whitney, you can hit me if you need a favor. And when I say I hit your back, it's a lot safer.
So with this part, I continue to struggle with the allegations of beatings, of like wife beating, domestic abuse. I have not been able to find anything to substantiate those claims, but my opinion is what, Drake said earlier in the song. I would reiterate that if these things are not true, I would expect Whitney to support her man and like back him up. Like, it's been 3 or 4 days now since Drake went in seriously on the beating allegations. I can't remember on Taylor Made if he kind of alluded to something possibly. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and listen to it. But on Family Matters, obviously we know that Drake dropped that bomb, and we're 3 or 4 days since then, and we don't have anything. Maybe it's 3 days right now. So I agree with that aspect. Like, if Kendrick is your guy, we need you guys to come in and defend his character from this person that's like lying on his name. And it's not about speculation with fans saying, why would her brother still be cool with him? I agree with that. If someone did something to my sister, I wouldn't be cool with them anymore. But we need to hear it from the horse's mouth. That's what I'm trying to say.
I promise. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, this shit was some good exercise. Like, it's good to get out, get the pen working. You would be a worthy competitor if I was really a predator and you weren't fucking lying to every blogger and editor, but it is what it is. You definitely got this shit burnt the fuck out though. Like, you got 10 more records to drop. The one before the last one, we finessed you into telling a story that...
We need the proof, Drake. That's all I'm going to say. We need the proof about the daughter thing.
Doesn't even exist.
Show us a text
and
or something.
You go and drop the West Coast one and try and cover that up. I would like that one. That would be some shit I could dance to if you wasn't tripling down on some whole other bullshit, but... at least...
That song was a banger, but I really struggled with the pedo lines.
Your fans are getting some raps out of you. I'm happy I can motivate you. Bring you back to the game, like...
This part's true.
But just let me know when we're getting to the facts.
I need receipts from you too, Drake. I agree with you. We need facts. We need proof, but I need it on both sides. I'm not going to be biased. I need it from Kendrick and Drake. So that's my criticism about this part. Again, if he followed this track with releasing some receipts, I would say checkmate, Drake's won. If he didn't, which he hasn't, I'm still waiting. I'm still in limbo. I still am not going to really, make a decision on it.
Everything in my shit is facts.
We'll see.
I'm waiting on you to return the favor, like.
Yeah, so that part right there, he's basically like, in my opinion, if Kendrick replies and Kendrick doesn't go continue on the daughter and the pedo allegations and he raps against him, Drake will reply right back. That is my professional opinion. If Kendrick comes back and he continues and doubles and triples and quadruples down on the daughter and pedo allegations, that's what Drake is saying. Like, if you want to keep going with this angle that's not substantiated, that has no proof, you want to keep lying about stuff, I'm not going to keep replying. So that's how we have to analyze things. We cannot look at stuff and just make bullshit claims like everybody's doing in the comments and in videos and other reactors. And I've been a little bit disappointed. I am going to call out my colleagues. I've been a little bit disappointed with other reactors and the way that they've handled this situation. I think they're missing the mark a little bit. So this does not mean that I'm perfect. I am very far from perfect, but I do believe that there's a better way to handle the way that this situation has gone down. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully that cleared up some stuff about what was good and bad about the track. Let me know if you agree with what I said, if you disagree with any parts. I'd love to hear your opinion. If you're still here, I appreciate you spending your time with me. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you next time.